You were all warned.
I
Okay,
would say
great. So
I not only did your dog like that zucchini, my gosh, that dinner, the zucchini zoodle dinner, so good. It's like I have some more. I can't wait to have it again today.
good. Oh, good.
I loved it so much. I was thinking, is this a Thanksgiving dish? It was that delicious.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Well, I'm so happy. Wonderful. Any challenges that have come up traveling? I know some people aren't here because they are traveling. That always perpetually is a challenge traveling. Yeah.
Well, I did travel, and so yes, it was a challenge. So I didn't really start this until a couple days ago. So official, officially. But I don't count it.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, so recipes are going well. Meal prep. Joanne, did you also do like the jar salads?
Oh, I had to do the jar salads because of the work schedule I had. And there was a few times where I was working, sometimes I worked 9 hours without a break. And so then I was like tempted to do something other than a salad. And I thought, no, just go home and eat the salad. And because at sometimes at that point I want a snack. So yeah, it's the jar salads were really quite helpful to me to have that ready to go. And I couldn't believe how good they tasted because I thought, oh, I put regular onion, not red onion. I thought it wouldn't be as tasty, but actually it all blended well together. So
Good. Yeah. Anyone else surprised by how long they keep? I know. It always
Yeah,
blows my mind. You know,
yeah, I've made them in the past, and it is surprising because I would have never thought of doing that. And I was looking for all my jars. I don't know. I know I broke one, but anyways, I need to get new ones. I was ready to make all my salads tomorrow. I mean, yesterday, and then I realized I didn't have my jars anymore.
shoot.
Mhm.
Bummer. I actually got most of my jars from Amanda, my neighbor. She had all these extras that I was able to steal,
Oh, okay. Hmm.
which was
I
really
I bought
nice.
mine on Amazon, the link that Rachel sent, and they work really well.
That's great. Good. Yeah.
I
Uh,
watched your video with your daughter making the salads, and you have the fun covers.
mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, those lids do make it a little bit easier.
They're helpful.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's good. Okay, good. So, and then Joanna, you seem to have really good energy. How's everyone else? Any detoxing going on?
I had some. I'm better now.
Oh, good. Very good.
I feel it in my fingers a few days in.
Yeah. Which is so funny. You're the only one I know who's felt it in their fingers.
It's weird. Fingers and toes. Yeah, I get Charlie horses in the middle of the
Oh,
night. Yeah, but it's better. It's subsided now.
that's good. Yeah.
I mean, maybe that says my diet is terrible.
No.
No,
Well,
I had some rough times too. Yeah, yeah. And then I'm really glad because yesterday a bunch of people brought candy in and like I just couldn't even look at it. They're like laughing because I wouldn't even look at it.
Mhm.
And person I teach with, she had a couple pieces, just two pieces, and she felt sick. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't even look at it because sugar is my biggest trigger. And and I mean, I'm just like, it was chocolate too, and I was like, ew, I'm glad yeah. But I also have kind of like where I just feel more sluggish.
Mhm. Yeah.
One thing I noticed when I was visiting my daughter, that was my travel this past week up in Minnesota, and she had a lot of salty food that we had 2 nights in a row for dinner. And what's so funny is then I wake up with dry eyes, like in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I would think with salt you're retaining water, you wouldn't get dry eyes, but I had dry eyes. So now I'm back to my good eating and my eyes are feeling great again.
Mhm.
So,
Good.
mhm.
It affects all of your parts, your fingers, your toes, your eyes, right?
Right, right.
It's kind of
Hmm.
funny. Yeah, sometimes too, if I end up having something like really salty that's out of the norm, I will wake up and sometimes feel like I'm hungover, even if I didn't have any
Mm,
alcohol. It'll like make you feel hungover. It's awful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. My husband told me that I ruined eating out for him forever. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
not sorry.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, all right, good. So, we were talking about some cravings, not even being able to like look at the candy. That will get easier in time. So, I sent out an email about the gremlin, and I know this is something I've talked about, but I'm just going to refresh talking about the gremlin, especially for those who aren't here and will be watching the recording later. But I've always thought of, and actually, it was a client years ago that helped me name the food gremlin, and that's what she called it. And so it's you don't want the sugar, you don't want the candy. It's this food gremlin that wants it because you're here. You signed up for this challenge. You want to feel your best. You want, um, energy and longevity and to feel amazing in your body because that's why you're here. So when you get these little voices that come up and they're like, have the candy, have the chips, that's not you. That's this little gremlin, this little food gremlin. And when you feed the food gremlin, when you do give him the chips or the candy or whatever, he gets more powerful. So then when he pops up and he's like, eat the candy, it's harder to say no because he's gotten so powerful because he's been fed this whole time. But then once you stop feeding the gremlin, he starts to lose that power. So at first, it's really hard to say no to him because he's really powerful. But then over time, he really starts to lose that power. And so it gets easier and easier. So, um, hold on, bringing Vanessa in here. Okay. So he starts to lose that power. And so you really get to regain kind of that control over your food because that gremlin has lost all that power. Hey, Vanessa.
Sorry, sorry for being late and interrupting.
Oh, that's okay. You're fine. We were just doing some check-ins. Some of us had some detox, some challenges, started a
Mhm.
little bit late because of traveling. And then we were talking about dealing with cravings and talking about the food gremlin.
Okay.
Yeah. So, how's your week been?
Horrible. Just, I mean, I just traveled and I didn't realize what I
Hmm.
could and couldn't pack, what it was. I go to some of these small towns where they think they have a variety of food because they have a Carlsbad, a McDonald's, and a Burger King. So having a hard time finding what I need or carrying it along with me.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you
I'm
have
working on it.
another um more traveling this coming week, you said?
4 days next week. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot. So like what Joanna was saying, that really helped her. She wasn't traveling each day, but really busy work schedule and doing a lot of meal prep on the weekend really helped her. So when she came back from busy days. So yeah, meal prep and then taking the food with you. I've gone on like 3 day, 4 day little trips and we've packed all of our food. We went to Nebraska, which is similar. It's like
Yeah.
food desert. It's just absurd. Um, and so, we had to just like bring all of our food, bring a cooler, um, all of that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can I say something about the food gremlin?
yeah.
I'm happy that you're reminding me about that. And so now I'm thinking about ice cream. It's almost been 2 months since I had ice cream. And the reason I've decided that I'm not going to have it, well, all that sugar isn't good for me. We all know the reasons why, but it kind of sets me off to like fall off the wagon and just have more ice cream and then make poor choices elsewhere. And it's been almost 2 months, and I would say that food gremlin is really small, does not have that much
Okay.
power over me right now for with ice cream. So, which I'm happy about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
really exciting. That's like such a big win to move
Mhm.
past that. And I think it's too, really, thank you for sharing because it's so good to hear when people are like, oh my gosh, I had this really terrible craving. It was really hard. I used to really struggle with it. But then with time, it gets better,
Mhm.
and it's, sugar too. Salty foods were always more my thing. But
Mhm.
yeah, I also liked sugar, like
Mm.
any other human. And so, there would still be times where it'd be really tempting, but the longer you go, it just doesn't even appeal, And it's really like people, I remember this past August, like for my birthday, we made like the nutritarian like tiramisu, and it was just like, I don't know, like a regular birthday cake seems so unappealing. And
Mhm.
with time, you get there. So well done, Linda. Way to kill that gremlin. And this is another thing I wanted to talk about. Let's jump into this. So, one of the important things about this type of eating is we're eating really nutrient dense food. So, we're really focusing on micronutrients. So, getting all of that micronutrients in. So, we need vitamins, minerals in order to function properly. Of course, we also need calories, but as long as you're eating food and you're eating enough of food, you're generally getting enough calories. And if you're not just eating fruit, then you're generally getting enough protein and carbs. Some people, we have to get a little bit more particular in fine tuning things. But generally, it all works out when we're really focusing on micronutrient dense foods. So we think about it and you're like, oh, well, I want to make sure I'm getting plenty of fruits and vegetables in. But this diet also has us removing foods that aren't nutrient dense. And for a long time, I was under the impression, well, we just don't want to have these other foods that are lower in nutrients because, especially if we're trying to lose weight, we want the most bang for our buck. But then learning about the whole metabolic process, and when I was in grad school, you realize that these nutritionally poor foods like ice cream, sugar candy, right? Also like savory fruit foods like like crackers, like Ritz crackers, things like that. Those are so nutritionally poor that they actually take nutrients from you. So and they create inflammation because when you eat anything, you have to go through the whole metabolic process. That metabolic process with anything in our body is a series of chemical reactions. During those chemical reactions, we need vitamins as coenzymes in several areas. With almost all of the chemical reactions in our body, a lot of them rely on these vitamins as coenzymes. So then let's say we had some like Ritz crackers or some, candy. We are getting a lot of calories there. So our body has to metabolize it and process it, but we're getting no nutrients. But the whole metabolic process is requiring nutrients in order to metabolize it. So then it's actually taking nutrients from our stores in order to process it. Simultaneously, the whole metabolic process also creates something called reactive oxygen species, which are free radicals. And when we're eating something like candy or, whatever, white bread, then those reactive metabolizing it, right? We're using our stored vitamins in order to complete the chemical reactions, but then we're creating all of this oxidative stress, but we're not supplying any of our antioxidants to offset the oxidative stress. So we're pulling nutrients from our bodies and we are creating oxidative stress with no way to offset it. So it's actually not just neutral or, oh, well, I'm not getting any nutrients from this, womp womp. It's actually like negative. It's actually creating harm in your body if you're looking at it. Now, of course, let's say you're eating nutritarian all the time and then maybe you mess up every once in a while. Okay, your body can generally buffer that. But you really have to build up those stores. So think about it as like a bank. Every time you're eating and you're eating really healthy, nutrient dense foods, non-hyper processed foods, you're making deposits into your health. You are just constantly making these great health deposits. But then if you're going to be eating crackers, white bread, whatever, then that is all withdrawals. And so you want to make sure you at least have enough in the bank in order to do the withdrawals. Sugar, alcohol, those are some of the most damning ones for our bodies too. But anything acts like sugar. Yeah.
So I feel bad because I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. But now that you're saying this, it's making a lot of sense
Mhm.
because I really love ice cream. And there are times where, and there's Sweeties just a few minutes down the street. I drive by it at least a couple times a day. Now I don't even see it, but I'll start with a scoop and then it'll be two scoops. And
Mhm.
then I'm sending my husband to get me two scoops. And then all of a sudden it's 2 or 3 days in a row. And I used to wonder, all of a sudden I was getting cramps in
Mhm.
my calves and my feet. And this is after I ate my ice cream. And then I almost linked it to the ice cream, but I thought, why isn't it happening all the time? Maybe it's because after I had ice cream too much and then I didn't have the reserve. So that's probably why I was getting the cramps.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's always like weird symptoms that people have. Let's say that's weird, but we
Mhm.
all have different ways of it manifesting in our bodies. Some people, our hands might hurt. Um, but that's also something that I hear a lot too, is little aches and pains in the body start to go away within a couple weeks. It starts to really improve. And that's because your body is not dealing with all of this inflammation and it's reducing all this oxidative stress. So it's really, it's just, these 3 weeks are just a big hug for your body, lots of love. And that's really nice because, it's often marketed, I market mostly as like weight loss, but really, weight's not the most important thing. It's about feeling your best. And I have a lot of people here not even wanting to lose weight with it, but just really improve their health and feel the best, right? Because that's the goal. Because life isn't about necessarily a number on the scale, right? Who cares about that? You don't walk around telling people what you weighed that day. It's about having the experiences you want to have in life. And so I think that's really where eating like this comes into alignment because how can we really live this rich, fulfilling life if our body is incapable of having those experiences, if we're in pain, if we don't feel well, if we don't have the energy, and it also affects us emotionally, anxiety, depression, it all can be influenced by our diet. And so, really, eating this way is about living your most meaningful, happy life. And so that's why I started this A Life You Love workbook. So I don't know if anyone's downloaded it. I know, Linda, we talked about it some. And I am going to be adding more to it this week, some other sections. But really, what's already in there now for you to download is a lot already to go over. Let me go ahead and share my screen and I'll pull this up and just briefly go over it for you guys to do. Um, go. All right, guys over here. Okay, so the Live Your Life workbook. So, and it starts off with really this first section is getting really clear on where you want to go in life. And so that's the other thing too. If we are leaning into having all of the best experiences of life and living our happiest self and doing all the things we want to do, then we're less inclined to lean into food to fulfill us with happiness or those dopamine hits because we're living life. So we don't need food to fill in that void. We're using food simply to nourish our bodies so that we can do all of these experiences in life. So that's one of the first things you want to do is you want to get real like clear on what experiences do you want to have. And so that these 3 questions here are based off of Vishen Lakhani's. He founded Mind Valley and he's this great kind of like life coach. Anyways, I stole his 3 questions, which he has out on the internet to steal. But it's the first one is what experiences, big or small, do you want to have in life? And I think this is a really important foundational question to ask yourself. Now, they can be, like I say, big or small. Some people are like, oh, I want to hike Kilimanjaro, like awesome. But then some people want to have smaller everyday kind of experiences. It doesn't mean they're less important, but what are those experiences? Maybe you want to be with a partner and, enjoy morning sunrises together, or you want to have a rich, meaningful community, or, what is it that you want to do or experience? And then how do you need to grow emotionally, spiritually, physically in order to achieve those experiences? So it's really more than just what we're eating and becoming physically stronger, although that's a big part of it. It's also what self-limiting thoughts do I have? What, how do I need to grow, emotionally? Do I need to allow myself to be more vulnerable, less guarded, so that I can make connections and have more deeper, meaningful relationships with my family or friends or other people in my community? What is that? And then how do you want to contribute to your community? And again, this can be big or small. Okay. Sometimes I talk to people and they're like, I'm going to start a nonprofit. I'm like, that is so awesome. But it could also just be like visiting the elderly neighbor, or, talking to the kid who doesn't have a lot of great influences in their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be big, but contributing to our community is such a huge part of being human and feeling connected. And we as humans get such meaning from contributing to others. That is such an important part of our life. And so it shouldn't be overlooked. And then you can go into this evaluation. It's 1 through 5, and it goes through all these other areas. So physical health, emotional well-being, marriage, family life, social life, professional life. And you can rate them 1 to 5. Um, 5 being the best, 1 being like, oh, got to work on this area. And then you can, for those areas that you're not like out of 5, write 1 to 3 things that have held you back from having success in that area. So maybe social life is, you know, maybe you're not, and for social life, being a 5 is going to mean something different for all of us. Some people are so much happier and feel so much better only socializing a few times a month. Some people need it daily. So we all have different needs, but what you're looking for is that you're satisfied with that. And so then you could say, okay, what's something that's maybe held me back? Well, maybe I'm self-conscious and afraid to like put myself out there to make new friends, or maybe I haven't prioritized fun activities in my life and I focus too much on just work, or whatever it is. But start kind of asking yourself those questions of what's maybe held me back here. And then maybe you have this you know belief, oh, I think I'm too old. Because then we're going to have to start going back and, analyzing, well, are these true? Are they not true? How do we change them? But first, we just want to bring awareness. And so we have that evaluation there. And then I won't go into all this because I don't want to keep you guys all morning, but we go into some micro changes, and this is all downloadable for you to have. And then we start talking about our dream day and our future self. And then you can name your future self, or you can just come up. Sometimes I just have people who have like an identity word, an ID word here. And so sometimes it's uncompromising or aligned or vivacious, athlete, confident, consistent. Those have all been words that I've had clients choose. And so then you just want to start thinking about the choices you make in your life, and are they consistent with this identity of yourself and who you want to be? And then, of course, we're going to look at our habits.
Quick question,
So,
if I could.
please, yes.
Okay. On the micro changes, are you talking about I have this overall goal, let's say, to lose weight?
Mhm.
What's micro changes are those individual actionable pieces that are going to
Yes.
get me towards that. If I want to get out more and connect with friends,
Mhm.
that's the overall. And then my micro would be once every 2 weeks, make sure you have an event going on.
Absolutely. Something
Okay,
like
so
that.
just the individual actionable pieces.
And then we're going to start with just 1 or 2. And sometimes to get, and thank you for bringing that up, Vanessa. So sometimes to get clear too on what these little micro changes could be, so we can start kind of looking at the evaluation, getting kind of, okay, what are some of these? But then to bring more clarity to it, looking at our habits and making little like habitual changes, just like what you were saying. So going into this, I love this quote. First, we make our habits, and then our habits make us. And it's really true. Once we get really specific and we hone in and we make really good little habits, then they just take over. We don't have to put so much energy and effort into it. They're just on autopilot. And then once we get a couple habits on autopilot, then we can level up and we can create a few more good habits, but those on autopilot, and you just keep leveling up, you know? But one thing you can do is, and this will go over kind of getting clear on the habits or micro changes you want to make, is when you do your future self work, who do you want to step into? And, 6 months, 1 year, who is this like dream self that you are? And then you could also look at your dream day and get as much detail and think about, okay, my future self living this dream day, what are they doing? And you list out their habits. What do they do in the morning? What are they eating? What activities are they doing? How are they socializing? What are they wearing? How are they moving through the day? And then you just come up with all these little habits. Are they meditating? All this stuff. And so you just list out all of their habits, and then you go and you list out all of your current habits. And then you compare and contrast them. Where are your similarities? And then where are some of these differences? And so for some of us, well, for all of us, we're probably going to have some differences here, right? What I'm actually doing every day to what my future self would do every day, and then highlight one or two of those. And then think, okay, well, if I actually just woke up 15 minutes earlier, I could get a meditation in on the morning, and then I would feel more centered in my day. Okay, that's not a big one. Okay. I mean, it is and it isn't all in the same way, but you could think, okay, so that could just be one little change I could make. And then maybe another one's like, oh, like after I get ready for bed, I watch TV. Well, what if I laid on the floor and stretched and connected with my body, and that helped me relax and feel better? That's not a major change, but it starts moving us on the path, right? And so then you focus on just those two little things, and then they become routine. And then you level up, and then you go, okay, what are two more little habits that I can tweak? So then it's not so overwhelming, but you're still reaping these good benefits. All right. So any questions about that? Yeah. All right. I hope you kids enjoy working through this, and I will be adding more to it later this week, but there's still a lot of work for you to do in here. So, okay. And then just looking at the meal plan for week 2, this is a delicious week. I like it. Black bean veggie patties. You can make those and then freeze them too. You can just wrap some of the patties like in parchment paper and then put them in like a freezer bag. Like I have like stasher bags that you can freeze them in. And that's always something nice too, especially if you're traveling a lot or you have a really busy work schedule. So this is also looking out for, yes, this week, but then also you're probably going to have a couple extra patties in here. And so that can be in the future too, when you get home late, you need something to eat, you always have something healthy on hand there. So that helps. But yeah, these are all great. I love the tofu scramble. Yeah, these are all fun recipes. Ooh, and then hot chocolate's the dessert for this weekend. So that's fun.
I have a question about cilantro.
Hmm.
I heard, gosh, was it yesterday? Maybe we were talking. I don't think it was you. And they had said it's really good because it binds to heavy metals in your body
Yeah.
and then it leaves. I
Hmm.
mean, that's how it takes it away. So I never knew that.
Yeah, cilantro is a great heavy metal detoxifier. Yep, it binds
Oh.
and removes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so there you go. Oh, but that's another reason. Thank you for bringing that up. A, that's fun. Love cilantro. But then also too, like that's like the beauty of getting in a variety of different fruits and vegetables all the time because they all support us in different ways. So getting a nice variety is is wonderful. Also, too, that reminds me with the jar salad. So it's the same jar salad I have for every week, but you can switch that up. So you probably still have a little bit of cabbage that you can shred and use for your jar salads this week. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to do arugula instead, or radicchio or something else, like make it your own, have fun with it. I just have a base jar salad, but if you want to put other goodies in there, like go for it. Okay. But yeah, everything's pretty. There was a couple again, the grocery list. I'm making a couple changes. So I'll have a new grocery list up for you in like an hour. And I'll send that out, the link to that when I send out the replay today. Okay.
Sorry, I have a brand new energetic dog that I'm watching. I've just met today, and he's all over the place and eating tennis balls. So, but I can't. I'm so glad you recorded so I can go back. It's yeah.
Okay. No worries. Here, let me stop sharing. I think that's all that we covered. Covered food gremlin, why it's important to eat nutrient dense because of nutrients. We went over the workbook and this meal plan this week is pretty straightforward and delicious. So I hope you guys like it.
Lots of good topics. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was very helpful.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or anything? No.
I could say I made the one dinner with the pesto, and it was very good last night. I cut it in half, and there's still enough for a second serve. What did I say?
It seems to be a favorite, so that's great.
Except I used the noodles, the new noodles that Costco has. And I was going to ask you about it because it says ingredients: pea flour, lentil flour, and cauliflower flour.
Mhm.
That's it. No
Yeah.
salt, no nothing. Is that too floury?
No, I think that's fine. I'm also fine with like the Bonza chickpea flour or the intolerant just lentil flour if you want to use noodles that way.
Okay.
The edamame noodles are good too.
The what?
Edamame noodles, I learned about that when I was at the Eat to Live retreat. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the firmness of these better than the Banza, the little thicker or chewier or something.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine. Yeah, definitely. And it makes it easier too. So, oh, thank you, Nikki. So if that makes it easier for you, I think that's totally fine. Do what makes it easier for you. You don't get an award if you make it harder on yourself. Um, the other thing too is the hummus. I have a hummus recipe in there, and like, yes, make your own. That's awesome. But if you want to get a store-bought hummus, I'm okay with that too. Look for one that has this sometimes you see all the oil sitting on the top. Try not to get that. There's some that has less oil. There's also one brand, I can't think of it, like Halo, I think maybe. And it's actually oil-free. You can find it at some Whole Foods. Um, but if buying hummus makes it so much easier on you, then buy hummus. Okay. That's the other thing. Okay.
Okay, and one other question, both with hummus, which does have olive oil added, but also tahini, which has nothing added, but it's very high oil. Is that okay because essentially you're eating sesame seeds?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Tahini is fine. Hmm. Yeah. To use it when making that. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
It's
Well,
good to see everybody.
yeah, good to see you
Yes.
guys. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you guys have a great week.
Thank you.
You as well. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.